Welcome back, everyone. I am absolutely thrilled to have you here today. Look, our goal in this explainer is to completely demystify a process that a lot of folks think is, well, overly complicated. But in reality, it's an incredible gateway to boosting your career. Today, we're looking at exactly how to become a notary public in the great state of Mississippi. So, if you've been searching for a straightforward, highly actionable step-by-step guide, you are in the perfect place. We're going to break down literally every single requirement, cost, and rule you need to know to get started.
Imagine being the trusted authority in crucial legal processes, enhancing your career opportunities, and serving your community. Being a notary in Mississippi not only opens doors but unlocks potential. In this explainer, we'll reveal everything you need to know to become a notary public in Mississippi, step by step. Whether you're looking to add a valuable skill to your resume, serve your local community, or maybe even launch your very own mobile loan signing business, securing a notary commission is an incredibly strategic move. It's a position of high trust appointed directly by the governor of Mississippi, and honestly, it's way more attainable than you might think.
Okay, let's dive into this. Here is our roadmap for today. First up, roles and eligibility requirements. Second, the application process. Third, bond and insurance requirements. Fourth, commission and notary supplies. And finally, number 5, duties and maintaining status.
All right, starting with Section 1, roles and eligibility requirements. Let's figure out exactly who can actually become a Mississippi notary.
Now, while the Secretary of State handles the daily paperwork, it's actually the governor who approves your appointment. Which means these eligibility criteria, they're completely non-negotiable. First off, you got to be at least 18 years old, and you must be a U.S. citizen or a permanent legal resident. You also need to be able to read and write English. Okay, now pay close attention to this next part, the residency requirements. You absolutely must be a resident of Mississippi for at least 30 consecutive days right before you apply. Plus, you need to be a resident of the specific county you're applying in for at least 30 days. So unlike some neighboring states, non-residents absolutely cannot apply in Mississippi. No exceptions. You also need a clean record. That means no lifetime felony convictions, unless, of course, you've been fully pardoned or had your voting rights restored by the legislature. You can't be incarcerated, on probation, or on parole, and, this is a big one, you must not have had any prior notary commissions revoked or suspended for misconduct in any state.
But hey, if you check all those boxes, I have some seriously exciting news for you. In Mississippi, there is absolutely no exam or training required. I know, right? Unlike several other states that practically force you through hours of grueling coursework and strictly proctored exams, Mississippi relies on you to understand the law and operate ethically, without making you jump through state testing hoops. It really makes the barrier to entry so much more accessible. That being said, I'd still highly recommend taking a voluntary course, just to cover your bases and protect yourself out there.
Let's move to Section 2 and see how this builds into the physical application, the application process, your step-by-step action plan. So now that you know you're eligible, what do you actually do? Let's break it down. Step 1, you'll need to download and fill out Form NP-001 from the Mississippi Secretary of State's website. A quick trip here, you've got to type this form or print it super clearly in ink. Oh, and your commission name needs to include your last name and at least your first or middle initial. Okay, Step 2. You cannot just sign this form on your own at your kitchen table. It includes an oath of office that actually has to be signed in the physical presence of a currently active Mississippi notary, who will then notarize your signature. Step 3. Mail that completed application along with a non-refundable $25 filing fee to the Secretary of State. Once they review it, boom, Step 4, you receive a pre-commission approval letter. Step 5, you're going to use that letter to go out and purchase a $5,000 surety bond from a licensed provider. And finally, Step 6, submit that bond and your notarized oath back to the state. Guys, I literally cannot stress this enough. You have a strict 60-day window to submit that bond after you get your pre-approval. If you miss that window, you have to start the whole shebang over again and pay a brand new fee, so don't sit on it.
Moving right along to Section 3, bond and insurance requirements, mandatory versus optional financial guarantees.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is understanding exactly who is being protected here. Anytime you operate as a public official, money is involved to ensure total accountability. Let's look at the difference. On one side, we have the mandatory $5,000 surety bond. This protects the public, not you. If you make a mistake that financially harms a consumer, the bond pays them, and then the bonding company comes right after you to get their money back. But think about this real-life scenario. Say a highly experienced notary, we'll call her Sarah, accidentally misses a single signature line on a massive real estate deed. That tiny mistake causes the whole closing to fail and triggers a massive lawsuit. Well, that mandatory bond won't pay a dime toward her legal fees. That is exactly where errors and omissions, or E&O, insurance comes into play. This one is entirely optional, but it is what actually protects you, the notary. If you make an honest, totally unintended mistake and get sued, an E&O policy covers your legal fees and the damages. While the state doesn't force you to buy it, almost every professional organization out there strongly recommends it. It's basically a safety net for your peace of mind.
All right, Section 4, Commission and Notary Supplies. Let's start calculating your investment.
Once your paperwork is filed, you actually need the physical tools of the trade. And honestly, the out-of-pocket costs to launch this are pretty awesome. The mandatory application fee is just a flat $25. That required $5,000 surety bond, it's going to run you anywhere from $30 to $75 for the full term, depending on which provider you choose. After your commission is officially approved, Mississippi law requires you to buy an official notary stamp, which is usually between $15 and $30. You're also legally required to maintain a physical notary journal to record all your acts. That's another $10 to $55. And finally, that optional E&O insurance we just talked about sits at roughly $60 a year. So if you add that all up, a complete, highly professional setup is only going to run you between $80 and $160 up front. That's it. For a legitimate business venture or a serious professional credential, that is a remarkably low startup cost.
And here's an important number to remember. 4. Once you've submitted your bond, your oath, and your application, the Secretary of State issues your official commission certificate. That certificate is valid for exactly 4 years. Because of that, your bond must perfectly match this 4-year term. When those 4 years are up, you'll need to reapply, pay the fee again, and get a brand new bond to keep your status active.
Let's head into our final phase, Section 5, Duties and Maintaining Status, the day-to-day rules. Because, let's face it, getting the commission is just the very beginning. Now we actually have to operate. One of the most common questions new notaries have is, hey, how much can I actually charge people for this? Well, in Mississippi, the magic number is $5. That is the absolute maximum allowable fee a Mississippi notary can charge for standard notarial acts. Specifically, we're talking a maximum of $5 per acknowledgement and $5 per person for jurats and oaths. Now, you are absolutely allowed to perform notarial acts for free, like as a favor or community service, but if you do decide to charge, state law caps it firmly at $5 per act.
So the crucial point here is how you maintain your records day to day. Mississippi Administrative Code Rule 5-4.1 mandates that you record every single notarial act in a journal. But wait, before you even make your very first entry, the front of your journal must contain some incredibly specific information. It has to include your name exactly as it appears on your commission number, and your expiration date. It also needs your office address of record. Then, it must include a very specific statement directing that, in the event of your death, the journal shall be delivered to the circuit clerk of your county of residence. You also have to include a glossary explaining any abbreviations you might use, and finally, your official signature. Seriously, do not skip this setup phase in your journal. It is a strict legal requirement, and you want to start off on the right foot.
Now, before we wrap up, I need to issue a very clear warning regarding how you actually perform these notarizations. While tech is rapidly advancing all over the country and the whole work-from-home trend is just booming right now, remote online notarization, often called RON, is strictly prohibited in Mississippi. Let me repeat that. You cannot use a webcam, Zoom, or any online platform to notarize a document. Every single notarization you perform must be done with the signer standing physically in front of you, in person, within the physical borders of the state of Mississippi. It's old school, but it's the law. We have covered a massive amount of ground today. Think about it. You now know the strict eligibility requirements, the exact step-by-step application process, the critical difference between a bond and insurance, your total startup costs, and the day-to-day rules of operating your journal and charging fees. You know the steps, you know the costs, and you understand the rules. So I leave you with this question. When you hold that official stamp, you aren't just verifying signatures on a piece of paper. You are actively deterring fraud and protecting the legal rights of your neighbors. Are you ready to take the oath and wield that kind of trust in Mississippi? Remember, there is literally no exam standing in your way. You can go download Form NP001 and get started today. Oh, and if you found this explainer helpful, go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss our future explainers. We're here to help you navigate complex topics with ease.
Finally, as we close things out, please note, this explainer is for informational purposes only. For official guidance and the most current regulations, please refer to the Mississippi Secretary of State's office or consult with a legal professional. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today, and best of luck on your journey to becoming a Mississippi notary.